just about the brain being open and you're using your brain more than other people. But yeah, I mean, I'm not like, people always ask me to come on and do readings and stuff like that, and I'm not a professional.
Being like, you know, crucifying me for being plastic or whatever. So if you were to ask her, she would be like, well, that's because she perpetuates an unhealthy standard of beauty.
I have this thing in my life where I just like run everyone away that loves me. And so Cameron loves me, and I have this thing where I was like, you can't love me too much.
I am moving forward with some startling news that has been circulating in whispers for a while now. Apparently, Machine Gun Kelly, often called MGK, has been involved in an affair with a British influencer, a situation that has rattled both the internet and Megan Fox's inner group. The influencer says MGK hid the fact that Megan was expecting, which, if true, adds an even more painful dimension to the entire fiasco. Megan is no stranger to public scrutiny, but this time she's made it clear she's had enough, and if these stories hold weight, her resolve to walk away for good has never been stronger. We've all watched Megan Fox and MGK's on-again, off-again love story grow under a glaring spotlight. Their relationship frequently feels more like a comedy with each passing chapter, and their latest change is no exception.
I know all the fighters and their backstories, and I've been into it for a few years now. He likes it, but I'm definitely the one that's more obsessed with it. I was actually at the Conor Khabib fight a couple of years ago when all of that chaos happened and everyone had to run. We had to like escape when they started jumping the ring. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Close friends say this newest phase has crossed an important line. The tipping point word on the street is that MGK messed around with the reveal of their baby's gender, a highly personal detail that Megan wanted to keep private. This revelation, mixed with swirling rumors of emotional and possibly physical infidelity, was allegedly the final straw. Megan has demanded absolute control over his public appearances and projects, even asking that MGK exclude any other women from music videos. It's a stark ultimatum. Either respect my boundaries or we're done, despite repeated efforts to reconcile. Megan and MGK have allegedly split for what feels like the umpteenth time, and each incident of drama seems to get exponentially more toxic. While fans originally found their passionate vows of love interesting,
I don't know, just figure it out. And so like it took me all this time, and then I saw Lionel Richie coming. I saw an empty seat next to me, and I was like, please don't make this man sit next to this stupid. And he came over and he sat down and he inspected it and touched it. Yeah, and then we were so close. I was scared to clap for Wayne Brady. So every time he made a joke, I just looked like I was unentertained.
The constant roller coaster of cryptic Instagram posts, public spats, and social media blackouts has become a never-ending soap show, exhausting even the most dedicated onlooker. But let's backtrack a bit. It appears the start of this big conflict traced to one chaotic Thanksgiving vacation in Vail, Colorado. Picture the scene. A beautiful winter wonderland, mugs of hot cocoa, matched scarves, and bright holiday smiles. On the surface, it appears the start of this major conflict tracked to one chaotic Thanksgiving vacation in Vail, Colorado. Picture the scene. A beautiful winter wonderland, mugs of hot cocoa, matched scarves, and bright holiday smiles. On the surface, it looked like a fairy tale retreat for the couple, yet behind the scenes, problems had been brewing during what should have been a cozy family holiday. Megan reportedly found incriminating messages on MGK's phone. If you've ever snooped through a partner's phone,
Can be a lot of different things and a lot of different people at any given moment, but he has a really pure soul. And he can be very vulnerable, which is what I think you experienced that day, where there was a breakthrough where he wasn't behind his ego and he was just like, I'm hurting today and I don't feel proud of myself today. And I think that's probably what really spoke to you, right? Is that you got to see somebody not hiding from their failure.
It seldom ends well, and this was no exception. Whatever she found set off alarms, leaving her convinced that MGK was involved with various people on the side. The Thanksgiving turkey wasn't even cold before Megan approached him, offering an ultimatum that uprooted their entire holiday. If you've been watching these two for a while, you know that their relationship has been plagued by red flags, tabloid news, and near constant upheaval. They've often described themselves using terms like twin flames, going so far as to say they drink each other's blood, a story that sets social media aflame with jokes and memes about Twilight fanfiction come to life. Their seemingly heightened brand of intimacy ran side by side with an unsettling sense of unpredictability. Some observers speculate that MGK might actually be self-sabotaging.
I think it's sinister. I think it's evil. And I don't think people understand we've come to this place where we grasp like bad. But then when it comes to a celebrity, all of that is thrown out the window. Maybe it was worse back then. I actually don't think so. I think with the invention of social media, it's so accessible now that it's much worse.
Intentionally finding ways to damage the relationship. Perhaps he's too absorbed in the rock star lifestyle to notice the effects. Alternatively, he might be subconsciously pushing Meghan away because he can't handle commitment. Either way, it's not a healthy environment for Meghan, especially given the stress of impending motherhood. The real question is, will this be the final split they've had? They split, and reconciliations are more than most can count in account. They have always come linked with off and on drama. Up news whenever things are off or they decide to make up some friends. They are so used to this pattern that they wouldn't be shocked if they got back together next week or next month or even just before the baby comes this year. This might read to some as a deep tie, but more often, it's a glaring sign of unhealthy codependency. Codependency. G40, it's time for my 40. It was time for her to argue, definitely entering a more stable part of life. She has children. She from her previous relationship with Brian Austin Green and keeping a calm.
Mine was, well, I remember walking up, it was a circle of about 20 people, and you're in the forest or in the jungle, you're dieting, they're not eating past 5 p.m. or drinking water or anything, and I was the last person to go up and take it, and I remember watching everybody go up and take theirs. They had one cup, and they get to me, and the shaman says something to the translator, and the translator goes,
nurturing setting for the paramount her faramount Topsh friends. This fiasco with MGK fiasco wake-up call is an obvious sign that no matter how much twin flames pout, it's a respout, a relationship shaped by chaos rather than helpful love. Meanwhile, Green has not openly commented on these developments, so picture him quietly shaking his head at the spectacle from the sidelines. There was a full decade and a half, and while Meghan wasn't perfect, she left that relationship in search of what she viewed as a deeper connection with MGK. What has been passion but is passion, with a big dose of instability, is volatility. Stability underrated, a stunder respected. A stablet usually plays games or drops vague hints on social media while texting questionable people behind your back, the powerful back. The Meghan could still reunite with MGK, who hangs in the background, ever so slightly, as followed them. It is known that these to have a habit of dramatic breakups and just as dramatic makeups if they make up. First she cycles in the future, it risks the future, shadowing Meghan's self-worth and overshadowing the peaceful environment she wants during this pregnancy. Meghan's pregnancy, hers hope that she will choose a different road this time, giving her the serenity that's been missing for so long. But let's not downplay the complexity of the situation. I went deeply into a relationship.
Being like, crucifying me for being plastic or whatever. So if you were to ask her, she would be like, well, that's because she perpetuates an unhealthy standard of beauty, right? Mm-hmm. And so here I am, I'm going to be fully transparent. Mm-hmm. I still won't win because there are some girls who have been transparent.
Both emotionally and financially. It was never easy, and I added a base, a mix, and the commixity doubles. Meghan doubles. Torn between keeping a two-parent setting and avoiding the toxicity that might hurt her well-being in the long run if she's rerun. Either limit, she may be imagining life beyond MGK, picturing MGK, a future that doesn't revolve on drama or sadness. Brian Austin Green finally found happiness with MGK, at least briefly. These MGK will have an awakening about his behavior, Yet the pattern will be repeated otherwise. Repeatedly stumbling, expecting a faltered face, might be to about face after all. A friendship can all. A relationship is one party's illusions alone. It is demilitarized alone, which MGK is ready to provide.